Okay, let's face it, everyone's swamped. You want the insights, the knowledge, but without drowning in information, right?
Totally. Information overload is real.
Exactly. So that's what we do here. Today, we're doing a deep dive into something pretty powerful, achieving flow state.
Ah, yes. Flow, that feeling when you're just completely in the zone.
Right. Performing at your absolute best, time just vanishes. We're basing this on Stephen Kotler's insights, specifically from a Big Think interview about his book, The Art of Impossible.
Kotler's great at breaking this down, makes it accessible.
So our mission today, figure out what flow actually is, why it's good for us, and maybe find some practical ways you can get into it more often, pulling directly from Kotler. Sound good?
Sounds like a plan. It's less magic, more science than people might think.
Okay, so starting point. How does Kotler actually describe this state? What's the core feeling?
He uses this brilliant phrase, effortless effort.
Effortless effort. I like that. Seems contradictory, but...
It does, right. But it means you feel like you're being carried along by the activity itself. Your focus just narrows right down. And all the other stuff, worries, the to-do list, distractions, it all just evaporates.
Gone. Like it doesn't exist in that moment.
Exactly. It's just you and the task totally merged.
And he talked about time doing weird things, didn't he? Like stretching or shrinking. I've definitely felt that when I'm deep into writing something.
Oh, absolutely. Time perception goes completely elastic in flow. It's one of the classic signs. You can have hours feeling like, I don't know, 5 minutes, that's time dilation.
Yeah, the where did the time go feeling.
But then sometimes a split second can feel like it slows right down, almost like a freeze frame effect.
Like in the movies?
Kind of. Think about an athlete making a critical, fast move. They often describe seeing it happen in slow motion with total clarity. It's pretty amazing how our state of mind can just warp our perception of time.
That's wild. Okay, and what about intuition? He mentioned something about a basketball hoop looking huge.
Yeah, that's a great example of heightened intuition. It's another key part of flow. It's like your brain sort of skips the slow, deliberate, step-by-step thinking.
The logical processing bit.
Right. And it just jumps straight to the answer or the right action. You just know what to do next, even if you can't explain why immediately. It's your subconscious really kicking into high gear.
Okay, that makes sense. Now this one sounded a bit odd. Paralysed frown muscles. What's that about?
Huh. Yeah, it sounds funny, but it's actually quite revealing. Kotler points out that, when you furrow your brow, it often means your brain is working hard, struggling with something, mental strain.
Right, concentrating hard.
But in flow, because everything feels so smooth and, well, effortless, that physical tension in your face just relaxes, disappears.
Yeah.
He told a story about his wife seeing him working without frowning and thinking he was upset or something.
Well, that's funny. Because he was actually deeply focused, just not struggling.
Precisely. It's a neat little physical cue about the internal state.
Okay, so flow isn't like a totally new discovery Kotler made, is it? He's building on earlier ideas.
Oh, definitely. He's standing on the shoulders of giants, really. The concept's been floating around for ages. He mentioned Goethe, the German writer, used the term Rausch.
Rausch. What's that mean?
It sort of means like overflowing with joy, being swept away. Nietzsche talked about similar peak states, so did William James. But the big name, the godfather of flow psychology, is Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi.
Csikszentmihalyi, right. Got it. He's the key researcher.
Absolutely. He spent decades doing really rigorous research, interviewing thousands of people, artists, athletes, surgeons, musicians, everyday people about times they felt their absolute best.
And what did he find? Was it the same for everyone?
Remarkably consistent, actually. Across all these different activities, different cultures, people described this core experience, feeling completely absorbed, action and awareness merging, a sense of control, clear goals, immediate feedback, basically the seamless, effortless action. That feeling Kotler calls flowy.
Total absorption.
Yeah.
Rapt attention.
Exactly. The quality of the experience itself was the key thing.
So it's not just for the elite performers. It's a human thing.
Very much so. Which leads into something else. Kotler talked about this idea of the voice. Sounded a bit out there.
Yeah, what was that?
Yeah.
An actual voice?
Not literally, no. It's more like that heightened intuition we were talking about, but maybe cranked up to 11. He used his own experience skiing really fast, dangerous terrain.
Okay.
And in those moments where a tiny mistake means a big crash, He described getting this incredibly rapid, intuitive guidance, like step-by-step directions appearing in his head, telling him exactly what to do, faster than he could consciously think.
Wow. So it's the brain processing information super fast and feeding it directly into action.
That's the idea. It bypasses the conscious filter when speed and accuracy are critical, a really potent example of intuition and flow.
Incredible. Okay, so we get what flow feels like. Now, the big question,
Uh,
how do we actually get more of it? Kotler gave a golden rule, right?
he did. The golden rule is all about the challenge skills balance.
Challenge skills balance. Explain that.
Basically, flow tends to happen when the challenge of whatever you're doing slightly exceeds your current skill level. Just a little bit.
So not too easy, not too hard.
Exactly. Too easy and you get bored, your mind wanders. Too hard and you get anxious or frustrated, you feel overwhelmed. It's that sweet spot right on the edge of your current abilities.
I think he said stretch but not snap. That captures it perfectly.
It really does. You need to be pushed, but not so much that you break. It requires being comfortable with being a little uncomfortable.
Which means you constantly have to seek out slightly harder challenges as your skills improve, right? To stay in that flow channel.
Precisely. It's a dynamic thing. You master one level, you need to find the next step up to keep triggering flow.
Okay, that makes sense. Finding the right level of challenge is key. Now, the practical toolkit, flow triggers. These are things we can actually do.
Yes, think of triggers as ways to kind of prime the pump for flow, ways to set up yourself and your environment to make it more likely to happen. He mentioned researchers have identified, 22 of them? Probably more.
22. Okay, what are some of the main ones we should focus on?
Well, the absolute foundation, the non-negotiable one, is complete concentration.
Focus. Easier said than done these days.
Tell me about it. But yeah, you have to eliminate distractions. Give the task your undivided attention. It sounds basic, but it's probably the biggest barrier for most people.
My phone is definitely my enemy here. Okay, so intense focus. What else?
Physiology is a big one. Working with your body's natural energy cycles, not against them.
Like being a morning person or a night owl.
Exactly that. Kotler himself is an early bird, gets his best work done first thing. His wife, total night owl. The point is, figure out your peak alertness times and try to schedule your most demanding, focus-intensive work for then.
That's a really practical tip. Stop trying to force focus when your brain is half asleep.
Right. Another crucial one, uninterrupted blocks of time.
Booking meetings with yourself, basically.
Kind of, yeah. Kotler suggests aiming for like 90 to 120 minutes of protected time. No calls, no meetings, just pure focus.
And that ties into the next one, I guess, distraction management.
Absolutely. It's the flip side of concentration. You need to be ruthless. Turn off the phone or at least notifications, close email, shut down social media tabs, silence all the alerts.
All of them, seriously.
Seriously. He mentioned a study about software coders, how a single interruption could take them like 15 minutes to get back into that deep focus state, if they even could get back.
Wow, 15 minutes just from one email ping. That's brutal.
It really shows how fragile that flow state can be. You need all your attention, as he put it, in the right gear right now. Any little distraction can throw a wrench in the works.
Okay, message received. Feel the distractions. Now, he also talked about specific triggers related to dopamine. That sounds like brain hacking.
It kind of is. Dopamine is that neurotransmitter linked to, motivation, focus, alertness, excitement. Certain things naturally trigger its release, which helps push us towards flow.
Like what kind of things?
Novelty is a big one. New experiences, new information, new environments. Your brain perks up when things are different.
So changing where you work or learning something new?
Could be, yeah. Even small changes. Unpredictability is another. Things not going exactly as planned can actually boost focus sometimes. Complexity, too, tackling intricate problems.
Wait, complexity? Wouldn't that cause anxiety, not flow?
It depends on the level. Linking back to that challenge skills balance. If it's engagingly complex, something that makes you think deeply but you can figure out, solving it releases dopamine. It feels good.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
What else triggers dopamine?
That feeling of encountering something vast, mind-blowing. Kotler's example was looking at the stars and grasping the scale of the universe.
Doesn't have to be that grand, though, right?
No, it could be seeing amazing art or being in incredible nature. Then there's the simple satisfaction of completion, finishing a task, solving a puzzle like a crossword or Sudoku. That gives a dopamine hit.
That explains the Sudoku addiction.
And that hit makes you better at pattern recognition, which feels good, releases more dopamine. It's a cycle.
A positive feedback loop.
Yeah.
Cool. And the last one was risk-taking. Sounds a bit extreme.
Yeah, but he clarified it's not just physical risk like extreme sports. It can be emotional risk like sharing your creative work, social risk speaking up, intellectual risk tackling problems where you might fail.
So stepping outside your comfort zone in different ways.
Exactly. And the key insight was that dopamine release often happens before the potential reward to drive the seeking behavior, the motivation to take the risk, not just after you succeed. It fuels the focus needed to navigate uncertainty.
That's a really useful distinction. It's about the drive, not just the reward. Okay, so those are triggers. What about the deeper stuff, the intrinsic motivators? How they fit in?
Think of those as the underlying engine. The triggers help you get into flow in the moment, but intrinsic motivators are what keep you coming back, what make flow experiences sustainable and meaningful in the long run. Kotler lays out 5, and they often build on each other.
Okay, what's the first one?
Curiosity, that basic human drive to explore, learn, understand. He calls it focus for free.
Focus for free. Why?
Because if you're genuinely curious about something, your attention just naturally gravitates towards it. You don't have to force yourself to concentrate. You just want to know more.
Makes sense. Curiosity lights the spark. What's next?
Well, if curiosity sticks around, it often deepens into passion.
Passion. Intense interest. Enthusiasm.
Yeah, really caring about what you're doing. He compares it to falling in love, how your focus just zooms in on that person. That kind of intensity is prime territory for flow.
Okay, curiosity leads to passion.
Then passion can connect to a larger sense of purpose, feeling that what you're doing matters, that it contributes to something beyond just yourself.
Purpose gives it meaning.
Right. And interestingly, Kotler notes that from a purely peak performance view, purpose is kind of selfish because it creates this powerful internal drive, which then fuels the need for the next motivator, autonomy.
Autonomy, the freedom to pursue that purpose.
Exactly. Having control over how you do things, making your own choices about your work or your projects, that sense of agency is crucial.
Right. Nobody likes being micromanaged when they're passionate about something. Okay, so curiosity, passion, purpose, autonomy. What's the 5th?
Mastery. The drive to get better, to develop your skills, to improve your craft. Once you have the freedom, autonomy to pursue something you care about, passion that feels meaningful, purpose, you naturally want to become good at it.
And mastery probably fuels more curiosity, right? Starts the cycle over at a higher level.
You got it. It's this upward spiral. Curiosity sparks passion, fuels purpose, demands autonomy, drives mastery, which makes you more curious. It's a powerful engine for consistent engagement and flow.
That framework is really helpful. It connects the dots. Now, Kotler seemed keen to stress that this isn't just for superhumans. It's universal.
Absolutely. He really emphasizes that point. We are all basically built for peak performance. Flow is a fundamental part of human experience. It's in our biology.
And not just humans.
Right. He mentioned that most, maybe all, social mammals show signs of similar states, especially in play. And he also brought up group flow.
Group flow. Like a whole team getting in the zone together.
Exactly. Think of a great jazz band improvising, or a surgical team working seamlessly, or even just a really productive brainstorming session where ideas just spark off each other.
Yeah.
It's a shared collective state of high performance and synchronicity.
I think I felt that. It's an amazing feeling when everyone's just clicking.
It really is. And importantly, experiencing flow, whether individually or in groups, isn't just about performance. It's strongly linked to overall happiness. People who report experiencing flow more often also tend to report higher levels of well-being, life satisfaction, resilience. Basically, it makes life feel richer and more engaging.
So it's good for productivity and good for your soul, kind of.
That's a nice way to put it. And it all comes back to Kotler's main message, which is really empowering. We're all capable of so much more than we know. Flow is one of the keys to unlocking that potential.
That's a great message. So let's try and tie this all together. How does flow fit into the bigger picture of achieving things, according to Kotler?
He used a really neat analogy. Think of it like this. Motivation gets you into the game. It's the starting point.
Okay, the initial push.
Learning is what lets you keep playing, developing the skills you need.
Right, you need the competence.
Creativity is how you steer, how you navigate challenges and find new paths.
Making choices, being adaptable.
And flow. Flow is the amplifier. It takes your motivation, your learning, your creativity, and just cranks up the volume. It multiplies the results, letting you perform way beyond your normal baseline.
The force multiplier. I like that. It makes everything else work better.
Exactly. That's why it's so central to achieving things that seem, well, impossible.
Okay, so let's crystallize this. If someone listening wants the key takeaways from our deep dive today, based on Kotler, What should they remember?
Well, first, flow is that state of effortless effort, deep focus, weird time stuff, boosted intuition. Second, that challenge skills balance is crucial. Always aim to stretch yourself just a bit.
Right, the golden rule. Stretch but not snap.
Then there are the practical flow triggers. You absolutely need complete concentration, so manage those distractions ruthlessly. Work with your body clock. Block out uninterrupted time.
And leverage those dopamine triggers, right?
Yeah.
Novelty, complexity, awe, finishing things, maybe even calculated risks.
Exactly. And finally, remember those deep intrinsic motivators: curiosity, passion, purpose, autonomy, mastery. They're the fuel for the long haul. Cultivate those.
So for everyone listening, maybe take a second now. Think about when you might have been in flow. Working on a project, playing music, a sport, even a great conversation. You probably recognize that feeling even without the label.
And now you have some ideas, some tools from Kotler to maybe find it more often.
So consider experimenting. Could you carve out 90 minutes of focus time tomorrow? Turn off email alerts. Pick a task that stretches you just a little. Nurture something you're genuinely curious about.
Little changes can make a big difference in inviting more flow into your life.
And here's a final thought to leave you with. Kotler argues flow amplifies our results, letting us achieve way more than we expect. So if you intentionally started cultivating more flow, what personal, impossible project or goal might suddenly seem, well, a little more possible for you?
Yeah, what could you achieve if you could tap into that peak state more often? It's definitely something worth thinking about.